Narayan's Lawley Road is a humorous and satirical story from Malgudi days. It is narrated by the talkative man, a freelance journalist and one of Narayan's recurring characters. The story is set in Malgudi soon after India gained independence in 1947. Narayan uses a simple comic incident to show the excitement, confusion, pride, and hasty decision making that accompanied the early days of independence. After independence, the people of Malgudi became extremely enthusiastic about removing reminders of British rule. The municipal council, which had previously been rather inefficient about the town's sanitation and administration, suddenly becomes very active. It decides to Indianize the names of streets, roads, parks, and other public places. British names are replaced with names associated with Indian leaders and national figures. However, this creates considerable confusion among the residents because they are accustomed to the old names. The municipal chairman is particularly eager to make a name for himself. He wants his actions to be remembered as part of the new independent India. His patriotic enthusiasm leads him to focus on the remaining symbols of British rule. One such symbol is a large statue of Sir Frederick Lawley, which stands prominently in Malgudi. The statue is associated with the old Lawley Road. The chairman and the municipality assume that Lawley was a cruel British official and therefore decide that the statue should be removed. The problem is that nobody wants to undertake the difficult task of removing the huge statue. It is very large and heavy, and the municipality does not have an easy way of transporting it. Eventually, the talkative man becomes involved. Seeing an opportunity to obtain the statue, he agrees to take it. His motives are not entirely patriotic. He thinks that the statue might be valuable as scrap metal or might otherwise bring him some financial benefit. After considerable difficulty, the statue is finally brought to the talkative man's house. But this creates an absurd situation. The enormous statue cannot be properly accommodated inside the house and becomes stuck in the entrance. The talkative man and his family are inconvenienced, and the whole affair becomes increasingly ridiculous. His wife is particularly unhappy with the situation, and the statue becomes more of a burden than an advantage. Meanwhile, the talkative man reports the incident in his capacity as a journalist. His report attracts public attention. Soon, however, an important historical fact comes to the light. The authorities discover that the people of Malgudi have mistaken the identity of the Frederick Lawley represented by the statue. They were different people with that name, and the Lawley commemorated by the statue was not the cruel enemy of India whom the municipality had imagined. Instead, he was remembered as a sympathetic and just official who had acted in the interests of the local people. This discovery completely changes the situation. The people who had enthusiastically demanded the statue's removal now want it restored. The municipality is ordered to put the statue back in its original place. The irony is that the statue, which was so easily condemned without proper investigation, has now become something that everyone wants to preserve. Yet there is a practical problem. The statue is still stuck at the talkative man's house, and moving it again would require considerable effort and money. The talkative man therefore finds himself in a surprisingly strong position. What began as an attempt to get rid of a colonial symbol has resulted in a complicated dispute involving the municipality, the public, and the government. Eventually, a solution is reached in which the authorities acquire the property and the statue becomes part of a public memorial arrangement. The talkative man is able to move to the new extension, and the episode explains the origin of the new development associated with Lawley. The story is funny because of the contrast between serious political enthusiasm and ordinary human foolishness. The municipality acts without properly investigating the history of the statue. The chairman is more interested in appearing patriotic and important than in carefully understanding the facts. The talkative man, too, is motivated partly by self-interest. Thus, almost everyone involved act hastily, and their decisions repeatedly create new problems. Lawley Road is not merely a humorous story about a statue. It is a satire on bureaucracy, political vanity, blind nationalism, historical misunderstanding, and human self-interest. Through the comic experiences of the talkative man and the municipal chairman, R.K. Narayan shows that independence brought not only pride and celebration, but also the responsibility to understand history carefully and make sensible decisions. The story's humor comes from the absurd chain of events, while its deeper message is that patriotism should be accompanied by knowledge, reason, and careful judgment.